Hi everyone, welcome to the Whiteleyverse with me, Connor Whiteley, for another daily story with a chapter from one of my novellas. Before I start today's chapter, please remember to like, comment and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new content, and the engagement really helps the Whiteleyverse with the YouTube algorithm. Also, if you want to buy this book and any of my other fiction, then they're all available from all major ebook retailers. You can order the paperback and hardback copies from Amazon, your local bookstore and local library if you requested. Also, if you want the AI generated audiobook, then you can get it from selected audiobook platforms and library systems like Cabal, Spotify, Barnes & Noble, Google Play, Baker & Taylor, Biblioteca and Overdrive. Now, here's today's chapter. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did writing it.
Chapter 1. The 10th of November 2023. Canterbury, England. Private Eye Bettie English had always loved going out for early breakfast with her nephew, his boyfriend and her two little angels, Harrison and Elizabeth, who just sat in their high chairs at the large square wooden table and just talked to each other about random colors and things they saw. Betty loved her kids more than anything else in the entire world, and she loved her family. They were amazing. She pulled in her warm metal chair a little bit more, and rested her arms on the even warmer wooden table in the cafe she was in. Each of them had a large white mug of coffee, and the two kids had some baby formula in a blue and pink bottle next to them. Betty had to admit this cafe did the most amazing pumpkin-spiced lattes ever. Even now she could smell the sweet, spicy delights of the spices, the caramel and the sugar that made the great taste of pumpkin pie form on her tongue. She loved drinking here. They had just ordered, and Betty smiled at her nephew Sean with his tasteful and very stylishly done pink highlights in his long blonde hair, as he sat next to his boyfriend Harry. They were both wearing black jeans and trainers, and a fake golden watch they had bought each other as a gaff gift for Halloween. Betty still had no idea why, but she had to admit Sean's light pink hoodie looked great. And it was a nice contrast to Harry's black one. They were talking, smiling and whispering to each other like they were concocting some evil plan for the rest of the day. Betty was never going to deny how cute of a couple they made. She was a little surprised how empty the cafe was. Normally there was a long line of elderly women, middle-aged men, and young families like Betty against the orange brick wall on the far side. But the line was tiny today. The rows upon rows of square wooden tables were almost empty, but there was a largish group of young mothers sitting behind them that Betty had spotted them. They were singing quietly, and just talking to their kids. Betty had wanted to laugh at the types of things they were talking about with their kids, but Betty had little doubt they were great mothers. "What you ordering, Auntie?" Sean asked. Betty was about to answer, as a large group of men and women walking past the hug floor-to-ceiling windows a few rows over caught her eye. "I heard there's a protest further up the high street today," Harry said. "What about?" Betty asked, really wanting to know if there was a potential case for her to help with. "Mummy, look," Elizabeth said. Betty just laughed as she saw that somehow Harrison had popped off the lid of his bottle and thrown his milk over his sister. "Don't do that," Betty said to Harrison with a warning finger. The little one didn't look happy, but as the three adults dried up Elizabeth, Betty gestured Harry to continue. "Something about police corruption and the unfair dismissal of a young officer," Harry said. Betty rolled her eyes. She was trying not to think about the damn police right now, because this was the final day of her boyfriend, Detective Graham Adams' police misconduct hearing. It was a complete kangaroo court that was fixed to get him out of the police, because he was always exposing police corruption, showing up lazy officers and more, but Betty couldn't do too much to help him. She might have been president of the British Private Eye Federation, an organization that had more power than the governments of most small countries, but when it came to internal policing matters, she had no power. And she hated it. Betty kissed Elizabeth on the head, and looked at Harrison when her phone buzzed. "Apologize to your sister," Betty said. "Sorry," Harrison said, trying to give his sister a kiss, but he was strapped into the high chair too well. Good boy, Betty said, looking at her phone. She was missed that it was from her assistant Fran, and she wanted Betty to call her. Big problem, Fran said as soon as she answered. Detective Kinsley was beaten within an inch of his life last night 2 blocks away from yours. Betty just gasped. She couldn't think of anything to say. Betty couldn't believe someone would actually attack Kinsley. He was such a nice guy, a good cop, and he was a great man. Why the hell would anyone want to attack him? I have to ask Bet, Fran said. Did you see him last night? What's going on? Betty asked, knowing Fran wouldn't be asking questions without good reason. Because Betty, when the paramedics eventually found Kinsley, he was only saying 2 words. Betty, Federation. He wanted to see me, Betty said. Where is he? I have to talk to him. Impossible. He's in a medically induced coma at Canterbury Hospital because of swelling on the brain. I'm at Lott's Cafe, Betty said. Get me a Federation vehicle immediately, and get one of our security people to the hospital as soon as possible. Kinsley wouldn't be attacked for no reason. Protect him. Of course. The Federation protects. The Federation protects, Betty said. Betty just held both her little angel's hands as she looked at Sean and Harry. She couldn't believe that something so bad had happened to such a nice, wonderful man, and poor Graham was going to be heartbroken when he found out. Betty shook her head. She needed to focus because someone had just attacked one of her friends, and she knew this was going to be a major, major incident. Especially because if she had learnt anything over the years, it was that whatever was happening to her and her friends were always connected. Kinsley's attack happened just a day before Graham's final day of his hearing. The two had to be linked. Betty had no idea how, but the idea of the connection excited her a lot more than she ever wanted to admit.
Welcome back everyone, it's me again, Connor Whiteley. So I really hope that you enjoyed today's story, because I flat out love writing, creating stories and sharing them with you. If you really enjoyed today's story, then please remember to like, comment and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new content, and the internet engagement really helps the Whiteleyverse with the YouTube algorithms. And if you want to buy this short story or any of my other fiction, then they're available from all major ebook retailers, and you can get them from your local library if you requested, and you can order the paperback copies from Amazon, your local bookstore or local library if you request it. Lastly, if you want to support the channel on a one-off basis, then you can now buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Connor Whiteley. Also, if you know anyone who would enjoy today's story, then please share it with them. I'm always really grateful when you wonderful people help spread the word about the channel. So, thanks for watching the Whiteleyverse, and I'll see you again soon. Have a great day, everyone.